Hi, yes, Seven. Welcome back. And we're going to start a new unit for the first 3 weeks. And it's all about chemical reactions. So the first lesson today is just going to be on how do we know a chemical reaction is taking place and what physical and chemical changes actually are. Can we identify these? And we would have done some work on this in the lab as well. So just a few sort of notes for you. As we start the lesson, in your notebooks, I want this recorded. So, title, changing materials, and we're looking at physical and chemical changes. So, first of all, we should define what physical change is. So, this box here, write that down because that's going to be what a physical change is. So, when you boil water, it's a physical change. No new substance has been made. It's the water at the beginning and it's water at the end. Okay, so that's a physical change like melting, boiling, evaporating, freezing, which we have covered already. Particle theory. Chemical change in the next box is something where a new product has been made, right? And that is a chemical change. We can spot a chemical change, and you'll do this a bit later on, looking at different examples of chemical changes in a number of ways. Okay, number one. Write these down as well. The way we can spot a chemical reaction is a new substance is being made. The car in that picture there has rusted. It's turned orange. A new substance has been formed in the form of iron oxide or rust. Okay. Number two, a substance has been used up. In the end, that iron in that car will all have gone and it will all have turned into a new substance, iron oxide. Number three, energy changes. Okay, so in chemical reactions, sometimes energy is given out. We call that exothermic reaction. And sometimes energy is taken in. We call that an endothermic reaction. Now, exothermic reaction are normally associated with reactions where we see an increase in temperature. Combustion is a really good example of that. As a fuel reacts with oxygen, it releases a huge amount of energy, and we see that as a temperature rise. Other reactions take in temperature, and we can see a temperature decrease as the surroundings of that reaction, energy is taken out of the surroundings in order for the reaction to take place. So energy changes. Number three here is another way we can see a chemical reaction is taking place. Now, some other keywords that we would need to know is reactants and products. Now, reactants are the things we actually start with in a chemical reaction. For example, the iron in the car here is reacting with oxygen, so they're the reactants. Now, the products are the new substances that are formed. In the case of the car, it is iron oxide, FeO. So, iron oxide, iron and oxygen being the reactants. And there's some examples of chemical reactions and the reactants and products that we've got here. We'll look at these in more detail in the video next. But if I just move myself out of the way here. For your notes, if you haven't got any of those things, the physical, chemical changes, the ways we spot chemical reactions, and the keywords reactants and products, then this section here is going to be a really good section for your notes. So a chemical reaction is a change that makes a new substance. Color changes, bubbles, solids forming are signs that a new substance is being made in the chemical reaction. Energy being taken in or given out also suggests a chemical reaction is happening. In a chemical reaction, substances are used up by the reactants, so we get less of those and we get more products being formed. Word equations are used to show chemical reactions. All right, so just a brief introduction using your textbooks about chemical reactions and how we spot them, and so something for your notes as well, so give us a good starting point for this unit. Okay, so that should take you about 5 to 10 minutes to make those notes, and we'll come back together and we'll start looking at some more examples of chemical reactions and how we can tell they're happening. Okay, see you back in the meeting.